How did you get over suicidal thoughts? Serious? Currently, when those thoughts come around, I do something I love. Now, that could be anything: making chainmail, making soap, hanging out with my boyfriend, playing video games, cuddling my kitties, etc. I have to remind myself that there are things in this world that I love intensely, and do not want to leave behind. Also, sometimes, I just need a good cry and a long, hot shower. Sometimes I throw on some good, relaxing music and just chill. Those help, too. If you, or anyone ever needs anyone to talk to, it really helps to speak to someone that has gone through what you're going through. Seriously, PM me. I'm happy to talk. As selfish as the comment seems, I always think to myself, someone out there has it worse than you. Not only does it force me to realize that all my troubles are meaningless, it empowers me to do better because of those people less well off. The woman that raised me helped me. She taught me that was worth something and showed that no matter what, she was there rooting for me. After that, I just had to remember that I was okay, that no matter what, things could only get better. She is dying now, and I have been to the hospital multiple times to make sure her kids, who I grew up with, can laugh and smile still. I think I owe her at least that much at this point. But I have no idea what I'm going to do without her. She's my mum, you know. Hi, I'm actually hoping to write a book about this someday. I grew up in a house where it wasn't okay to feel, so I wanted to die at an early age because I felt nothing. I am 24 currently and only experience suicidal thoughts very, very rarely. I got over my suicidal thoughts by treating each thought as if it were its own person. I respected it and listened to it. I asked it if there was anything I could do to get it to live just one more day. I didn't get any answers back at first, but then one day I felt like I should go on a long drive to somewhere I've never been before. After I went with this instinct, I felt a release, like something heavy fell off of my head. I don't know why, but driving was important to the parts of me that felt suicidal. I still live with suicidal thoughts, but slowly I've persuaded them to become interested in living. After all, we're lucky to be here. If we weren't here, then we couldn't create. I believe that we become suicidal because we lose vital connections. It could be we lost connection with ourselves, or perhaps we lost connections with someone we loved as much as ourselves. Either way, you can become a vital part to helping your suicidal parts recover those lost connections. It just takes time, patience, and believing that you can be reached. I was kinda skeptical of it at first, but therapy is extremely helpful. They narrow down what makes you feel low in the first place and teach you techniques to cope with it. One of the most effective ones for me is whenever I start to think negatively, I just yell in my head, "Stop." Honestly, I just learned to appreciate life more. I do broadly the same things on a day-to-day basis as when I was really depressed as I do now. I struggle with the same things, but now I don't cope by being depressed but cope by understanding how all of my problems are just a facet of who I am, and when I consider the things I'm proud about, it offsets the things I wish I could improve. Might get buried. But personally, I moved away. Other side of the country. I was dealing with a really bad case of falling in love with someone that doesn't feel the same, which lead to drinking, which lead to losing my job, which lead to cocaine. I just moved away. It was kinda counterintuitive to me and most advice. I was taking meds for depression at the time and I quit that with the sudden move. Most people told me I had to deal with my problems head on and not run away, but I was falling apart. I got kicked out of my apartment after the second time the emergency crew came to treat my suicide attempt and I needed a change. Moved away, got a job in my field that was less glamorous but much more responsibility. Kept me busy and I slowly forgot about that life back home. No drug connections, no failing love life to focus on. It worked great. It's not to say I don't have my moments, but life is better now. I stopped drinking to drown them out. It's a work in progress, but I've been staying relatively sane by trying to piece together the immediate fallout of if it actually happened. I couldn't put my fiancé and family through that kind of pain. They did nothing wrong. I've been trying to make myself happy by pushing competition in the workplace, gaming to find something to strive for. I've found that helps keep my mind away from dark thoughts. I had a bit of an existential crisis at a young age. It later transitioned to suicidal thoughts but was influenced by my inability to socialize due to Asperger's and the social rejection that stemmed from it. I at one point was seriously considering it, but I stopped, sat down and thought about it. I came to the conclusion that even though I believe nothing matters, life is pointless, and that entropy is the fate of all. It'll be fine. I accepted my reality. I'll give my life my own meaning and purpose, and even though it doesn't really matter, it does to me, and I'm fine with that. My actions won't matter in the long run, but I can help others in my life. This conclusion actually helped me force myself to socialize, get better, and helped me discover what I want to do with my life: to become a doctor, start my own practice and help disadvantaged people in my community. Though I will admit I have bouts of depression where the thoughts of nihilism come back, but I have to ground myself to the rock that is acceptance and weather the storm. I hated the thought of me being another depressed kid commits suicide in the news. I wanted to be different, not just someone who gives up on life like so many other people do. I didn't want to waste all the suffering I've put up with already just to commit suicide. Being an anime weeb, I also had the mentality that life is supposed to hurt and feel life suffering, which makes it so much brighter. That these tears will make things better and that I shouldn't give up now. No matter how depressed I got or how much I believed that I would be a loser in life, committing suicide was the most scariest thing I could imagine and just made me more depressed. I've gotten this far, why quit now? I've had an ascending aortic aneurysm, a brain aneurysm and 2 strokes. Life has done its worst to me and I feel like I must go on. 2 breaths. If you can take 2 breaths, you can make things change. I don't want to presume to know anything about your situation, so please take what follows with a grain of salt. I've read testimonials of people who willed depression away or were otherwise able to cope with it. This is great for them, and I'm sure it works in some situations, but sometimes it's not possible. Depression is often the result of a chemical imbalance, and it will persist regardless of your situation in life or anything you do to change the way you think. I was in this situation and had set a suicide date for myself when I started taking SSRIs. The change was like night and day. I now lead what I would consider to be a normal life. My family and close friends have told me how much more pleasant I am to be around. I perform better at work. I have a girlfriend now. My medication saved my life. I've read negative feedback about the medication that I'm on, citalopram, 40 milligrams, and I'm not trying to say that it's a universal cure-all or that SSRIs are the answer for everyone. But I often read stories about people who claim that changing your mode of thought, throwing yourself into your career, etc. are effective ways to deal with depression. I think that sentiment is likely to be true in a lot of cases, but some people need more. I do some time out of ordinary. I am one of those adrenaline junkies. About an hour ago I went out to nearby hiking trail and smoked a blunt alone while following the trail. Made it to the end and walked back to the car. I felt a lot better afterwards, or at least it temporarily satisfied hunger that's driving me to give up. Stop bringing in the same thoughts and go out to the physical world, live for a second, you would feel a little bit better. I didn't. I've just decided that on a long enough time scale, my existence is but a blip and I'd rather suffer through my short bout of consciousness than not have it at all. Thoughts are still there though, but I don't intend to off myself. I've got a huge book series I've been working on since I was a kid. It's not published or anything like that, but I've been working on it since I was in middle school. I'm 20 now. It got me through some pretty rough patches in high school and college, and it still gets me through today. I mostly just draw it as a comic online now, which has given me even more incentive to stay alive and finish it, because there are actually people out there who read and enjoy it, which is a huge bonus. I refuse to die until my story is finished. Who knows, maybe I'll still find a way to off myself when I'm 50. But not until it's finished. That's my only rule.